Welcome to Minghui Radio's Falun Gong News, direct from China and around the world. Topics include news about the persecution of Falun Gong in China, local events, and special items of interest. Now for this week's stories.
The following is a Minghui editorial with a comment from Master Li Hongzhi, entitled Dispelling Rumors. The article was published on August 31st, 2025. For a period of time, some so-called insiders in practitioner-run media projects have been spreading erroneous information, not only in North America, Europe, and Taiwan, but also among practitioners in China. The content being circulated consists of 5 main points and claims that Master had asked practitioners in the media to spread the information on his behalf, especially to those veteran practitioners who have been cultivating for over 20 years. The so-called directives said to pay attention to studying the Fa, don't develop resentment or hold grudges, pay attention to sending righteous thoughts and using one's supernormal abilities. Protect and hold on to your human body no matter what, and don't be moved by whatever you see on the surface. Most practitioners who heard this so-called message felt they had received a special favor. But have they considered whether there's any difference in nature between this message and the rumors that were spread in 1999 when the persecution first started? Isn't it similar to how one's heart was moved back then? Aren't those who spread fake scriptures taking advantage of such gaps? You may think that you are special and different from others, but you are repeating the same mistakes that others have made, without knowing that others have already passed that test and made improvements in their cultivation. You are still in the same place, being enthusiastically attached to those human notions and sentimentality, without rationally understanding cultivation from the Fa's perspective. Last Sunday, there was another message spread in the U.S. saying that Master had a meeting with practitioners who run their own social media channels and those in charge of media projects, and that there was a message that could be shared with other practitioners. Roughly, that Fa rectification could end at any time, and that some people would be weeded out, including some practitioners, that this could happen overnight. There are always practitioners who love to hear such things and those who love to spread them. From the perspective of a cultivator, isn't it naive to do such things? Even non-practitioners have the saying, rumors stop with the wise. Think about it. Would an enlightened being in heaven act as you do were they to encounter these situations? As veteran practitioners know, when Master points out common issues in our cultivation, he publishes articles through official channels. Yet some practitioners passionately spread the supposed hot news. Some like to hear inside information of what Master supposedly said in various settings. These practitioners should really pull themselves together and think about whether their actions are safeguarding or disrupting Dafa. Master Li commented, "The alleged meeting with media coordinators never happened. I have always advised students who I don't see often that they should tell the practitioners around them to take their study of the teachings seriously. And yet people have been spreading around the world some things about 20-year veteran practitioners, and even made up those supposed guidelines. Each practitioner has a responsibility to help safeguard our spiritual path and prevent disruptions to it. Your teacher, Hongzhi Li."
Bulgaria. The Art of Jen Shanren Truthfulness, Compassion, Forbearance International Exhibition was held at the Ravadanova Castle near the ancient seaside town of Sozopol from August 8th through the 29th. The exhibit featured 29 paintings created by Falun Dafa practitioners. Visitors from Bulgaria and abroad came to view the exhibition, with many expressing wonder at the beauty of its spiritual themes. A young couple silently admired the paintings, reading the explanations for each canvas, One of them remarked, "We have never seen such an exhibition before. It radiates so much spirituality. It really lifts you up."
Austria. On August 29th, practitioners from more than 10 European countries introduced Falun Gong and held a signature drive against the persecution at Vienna's Stephansplatz. Later that evening, they held a candlelight vigil to remember practitioners who lost their lives during the 26-year-long persecution. Julia Batsuk, an artist from Ukraine living in the Netherlands, recorded the exercise demonstrations and activities to share on her social media platform. She said, "It's great that you came here to inform people of this because they cannot see this information in the media." Julia added, "It can save lives, not only Chinese citizens, but people from all parts of the world." The following day, practitioners held an Information Day event with a rally, march led by the Tianguo Marching Band, and exercise demonstration at Helmut-Zilk-Platz. When forced organ harvesting was exposed, many people signed petitions urging an end to the suppression. Even attendee Hilda ventured to say that one petition may not seem significant. She then added, "But when there are more and more petitions, the government will know."
USA. The 10th International Chinese Vocal Competition was held at the Merkin Hall of Kaufman Music Center in New York City on August 29th through the 31st. The competition was one of a series of international cultural and artistic events hosted by the new Tang Dynasty television network. Singers from Shenyuan Performing Arts served on the panel of judges. At the end of the 3 days of competition, 1 gold, 3 silvers, 2 bronzes, and 4 honorable mentions were presented at the award ceremony. Gold award winner Mr. Shi Songlin said, "Holding this gold award trophy in my hands, I feel immense pride and honor. It represents the highest glory pursued by all the singers who took part in today's competition." Audience member Eric Shi, a New York businessman, praised Mr. Shi's performance and stated whether it was the vocal skills, outfit, or repertoire selection, his overall presentation was outstanding. He demonstrated extremely high professionalism.
The UK. Several members of parliament in the UK expressed their concern over Beijing's 26 years of persecution of Falun Gong and recent sentencing of Falun Gong practitioner Ms. Natalia Mininkova in Russia. Since March 2024, 8 practitioners have been detained in Russia, highlighting how the CCP's campaign against the practice is being exported abroad. The MPs noted that the CCP not only persecutes Falun Gong in China, but has intensified the transnational repression of the practice. They said that the violation of religious freedom is unacceptable and called on the British government to take action to protect practitioners' human rights. Falun Gong practitioners received letters of support from members of parliament Stephen Dowdy, who is Minister of State for Europe, North America, and UK Overseas Territories, as well as members of Parliament Ian Murray, Rachel Blake, Dr. Simon Ofer, Ian Lavery, Dr. Zubir Ahmed, and Belle Ribeiro Addy.
USA. The Great New York State Fair was held in the city of Syracuse for 13 days, from August 20th to September 1st. The nation's largest state fair has been held annually for 184 years and attracts people worldwide, with over 100 booths offering live shows, food tasting, horse racing, amusement attractions, as well as cultural and ethnic dance performances. Practitioners were invited to participate in the fair's Asian Village and gave interviews twice for WSYR TV Channel 9, a local ABC affiliate. Practitioners also introduced the practice and taught the exercises to many interested visitors. Meanwhile, on August 30th, practitioners held a rally in Philadelphia's Chinatown, commending more than 450 million Chinese people who have quit the communist organizations. The State House of Representatives and the Philadelphia City Council issued proclamations to commemorate the Falun Gong event. Several speakers addressed the rally and described the CCP's brutalities, including forced organ harvesting from Falun Gong practitioners. During the event, 49 Chinese people announced their resignations from the CCP organizations.
Spain. Falun Dafa practitioners held an event on Malvarosa Beach in the city of Valencia on August 10th. Passers-by were asked to sign a petition that calls for an end to the CCP's persecution of Falun Dafa. The petition will be submitted to the Petitions Committee of the Spanish Chamber of Deputies. Practitioners demonstrated the Falun Dafa exercises, distributed informational flyers, and told people about live organ harvesting in China. Many people signed the petition and some started learning the exercises. Carmen, a lawyer, said that she traveled between China and Spain for the past 12 years, facilitating the adoptions of orphan girls. She shared a tragic story that she had heard in China about a healthy girl's organs being sold before the child disappeared. She expressed admiration for practitioners' perseverance and encouraged them to continue their efforts for justice.
India, the 218th Independence Day Laubag Flower Show took place in the city of Bangalore from August 7th through the 18th. The event was one of India's largest flower shows and is held twice a year. Falun Dafa practitioners have been invited to participate since 2016. This year, over 624,000 visitors attended the show during its 12-day run, with 179,000 visitors on Independence Day alone. Many people stopped by the Falun Dafa booth to learn the exercises, hear more about the practice, and show support for the practitioners in China who face persecution.
USA. On August 26, the Newcastle County Council in the state of Delaware passed a resolution titled Supporting Falun Gong and its Pursuit of Exercising Freedom of Religion. The resolution thanked Falun Gong practitioners for their contributions to the community while condemning the CCP's persecution and transnational repression. Councilwoman Janet Kilpatrick and President Monique Williams-Johns initiated the resolution, while several members voiced concerns about the CCP's harassment, threats, and disinformation targeting overseas communities.
The Netherlands. Falun Dafa practitioners in the city of Utrecht introduced the spiritual practice and raised awareness of the CCP's persecution on August 17th and 24th. They demonstrated the exercises, displayed banners, distributed informative flyers, and collected signatures on a petition calling to stop the CCP's human rights abuses. Justin, a passerby, signed the petition and expressed his desire to start practicing Falun Dafa. He asked where he could attend an introductory session to learn the exercises and asked the practitioners to send him the link to a website offering documentaries from the Falun Info TV series Now and for the Future. Utrecht resident Jano van den Bosch commented, "As far as I know, the EU and other countries have taken very few measures to address this. Therefore, I think this petition is a good initiative and I'm signing it, hoping to bring about positive change in China."
Australia. On September 2nd, Falun Dafa practitioners held a press conference in front of Parliament House in Canberra. They called on the Australian Parliament to take action to stop the CCP's transnational repression and infiltration to ensure the Australian people's rights and Australia's sovereignty. Several practitioners at the rally described how they personally experienced the CCP's persecution in Australia or witnessed CCP agents coerce various sectors of the Australian community. A representative of the Tibetan government in exile called on elected Australian lawmakers to recognize the CCP's increasing harassment and suppression that undermines Australia's freedom and sovereignty. The press conference was a part of a 3-day series of truth clarification activities by Falun Dafa practitioners in the Australian capital. In addition to doing the exercises each day and displaying banners on the lawns in front of Parliament House, practitioners also visited embassies, collected signatures in a busy downtown area, set up a booth, and visited federal lawmakers inside Parliament House.
France. On August 24th, Falun Dafa practitioners participated in the annual Associations Forum in La Possession Reunion Island alongside 120 community groups. They demonstrated the exercises on stage several times, introduced the practice, and talked about the benefits of practicing the exercises and following the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. Many people were happy to learn that Falun Dafa is taught for free and were interested in trying the exercises. Mayor Vanessa Miranville visited the practitioner's booth to show her support and signed the Doctors Against the Forced Organ Harvesting petition, urging the G7+7 leaders to help stop the state-sanctioned forced organ harvesting in China.
Germany. The Mingwei summer camp was held from August 3rd through 10th at a youth hostel near the town of Merschied, North Rhine-Westphalia. The camp offered a rich program that included Fa study, exercises, and various cultural activities. It attracted over 100 young Dafa practitioners and their parents from Germany and 13 neighboring countries. The environment for mutual exchange and cultivation fostered a sense of unity among all aged participants, elevating their character through diverse activities. Since all activities required translation into multiple languages, patience, cooperation, and mutual tolerance were particularly essential. Everyone handled this challenge exceptionally well, with multilingual children often assisting program instructions with translation. The camp also provided numerous opportunities for parents to cultivate themselves as well. Courses on traditional Chinese culture were held. Falun Dafa materials were distributed locally, outreach activities took place at 2 information booths, and a 9-day lecture series on the Fa was conducted for the first time at the camp. A weekend closing performance served as the highlight of the week-long summer camp activities, where children showcased and introduced Falun Dafa to local residents.
The following are selected cases of persecution of Falun Gong practitioners in China. A 62-year-old woman from Liaoning province died barely a year after she survived 9 hellish years in prison for practicing Falun Gong. Miss Jiang Wei took up Falun Gong in 1998. She held firm to her faith ever since and was arrested and sent to prison several times. In 2003, after being subjected to various forms of torture and forced feeding, she had a mental breakdown. The prison then sent Miss Jiang straight home when they noted that she was on the verge of death. Miss Jiang gradually recovered, but was arrested again during a police sweep. She was sentenced to 9 years and admitted to a women's prison in 2016. She was again put through all kinds of brutal torture and sustained severe injuries. When her husband and mother visited her in 2018, she showed them her wounds and was denied family visits for the next 4 years. During a physical exam, Miss Jiang was diagnosed with cervical cancer. After she was released on April 17, 2024, her health kept declining. She died on August 19, 2025.
Falun Gong practitioners across China faced intensified arrests and harassment ahead of the Chinese Communist Party's massive military parade. The CCP regularly targets Falun Gong practitioners ahead of major events or anniversaries in order to prevent them from taking those opportunities to raise awareness about the persecution that has been going on for the past 26 years. Ms. Deng from Beijing found herself being followed by 2 security officers whenever she went out. She said to them, "The communist regime has guns, cannon, and an army. Why are you afraid of an 85-year-old woman like me?" The officers remained silent. Other practitioners in the area also reported being harassed at home and videotaped by the police. In Jilin province, between 30 and 40 practitioners were arrested or harassed. Shandong province saw a dozen practitioners also arrested and many more harassed. While in Sichuan province, the police took photos and ordered tea shop owners not to accept Falun Gong practitioners as customers.
After Miss Zhao Caisha was arrested in April for her faith in Falun Gong, her husband and daughter, both of whom are disabled and relied on her for care, struggled to fend for themselves. Miss Zhao, 73, of Harbin City, was approached by the police and had her luggage searched, while she and her sister, Miss Zhao Cai Hong, were waiting to board a train. Upon discovering paper currency with information about Falun Gong printed on it, the police arrested the sisters and took them to a police station. The police also raided both sisters' homes and seized their Falun Gong books, informational materials, and portraits of Falun Gong's founder. Miss Zhao had been taking good care of her husband and daughter for the past 2 decades. Her husband is bedridden most of the time and unable to take care of himself. Their daughter has a mental illness and needs supervision all the time.
2 Falun Gong practitioners developed severe physical conditions after being tortured at the Ningxia Women's Prison. Ms. Xin Linyuan was arrested in 2022 but was released on bail due to her poor health. She was sentenced to 2 years. She developed severe heart symptoms after being imprisoned for just 1 year. Ms. Yang Jie was arrested and sentenced to 6 years. In order to force her to renounce her faith, the prison guards kept her in a damp, cold chamber with no bed. She was later diagnosed with breast cancer and her right breast removed this year. The prison is notorious for abusing Falun Gong practitioners. The practitioners are labeled political felons and monitored around the clock by designated inmates who force them to watch, read, or listen to materials that slander Falun Gong. When they refuse to write statements to renounce their faith, they are subjected to various forms of torture, including beatings, sitting on a small stool, or standing for long hours, and having their mouths taped, their faces slapped, or their hair yanked. To humiliate the practitioners, the monitoring inmates sometimes force them to completely undress in 1 minute and then put their clothes back on immediately. Some even had their mouths gagged with their own underwear or socks. The practitioners were also often not allowed to brush their teeth, shower, or do laundry for long periods of time.
Documentary screening exposes the crime of the 21st century. The 2024 documentary State Organs is stunning audiences worldwide with its exposure of the chilling crime of state-sanctioned forced organ harvesting taking place in China. It has received 42 international accolades and was a 2025 Academy Awards Best Documentary nominee. The story is about 2 young Falun Gong practitioners who went missing 20 years ago after they were arrested for not renouncing their faith. It details how their families uncovered the large-scale covert crime carried out by the Chinese government of harvesting organs from living prisoners of conscience. It took 7 years to produce the film and entailed in-depth interviews with multiple victims, their families, and witnesses. Many people were shocked after viewing State Organs and voiced their sympathy and respect for Falun Gong practitioners' courage and kindness. Tony Brunt, former city councillor for the Wellington City Council in New Zealand, watched the film on August 21st in Newmarket, Auckland. He was shocked by the ongoing violence documented in the film. Even though he previously read about the issue, the movie still had a strong emotional impact. He said, "This is the crime of the 21st century and is also one of the most heinous crimes on this planet. There are many horrible things happening in the 21st century, but I can't imagine any state-level violence in any country comparable to this one." The most impressive part of the film for Brunt was about an elderly man who spent years looking for his missing daughter. The story is wrenching. He spent years seeking help from various government offices and enduring the pressure. This scenario happened countless times across China. Tens of thousands of people are looking for their loved ones. I can't imagine their enormous pain and suffering, Brunt said. He has been a longtime supporter of Falun Gong practitioners' efforts to expose the ongoing persecution in China. For years, he's tried to persuade the New Zealand government to stop its citizens from traveling to China to receive organ transplants. He explained, "We must join multilateral international efforts to pressure the Chinese government to end this atrocity." Sipipa Sima is a nurse who works in the dialysis department of a hospital in Manukau, Auckland, New Zealand. She watched the movie on August 21st in Newmarket. Ms. Sima shared, "We prepared lists of patients who needed kidney transplants, including the dialysis patients. It usually takes years for them to have a chance for a transplant surgery. Some were lucky to get one, while others died waiting. The lists are long, and so is the waiting time." She continued, "When they said in the movie that it takes 1 to 2 weeks to have a matching kidney, I couldn't believe what I heard. When someone called about the availability of the organs, the answer was always yes. In my heart, I kept shouting, there is definitely something wrong." In Slovakia, painter and university lecturer Daniel Sali watched the film at the Palace Cinema in the city of Nitra on August 26th. He was impressed by how much evidence the production team gathered for the movie and said, "It made me realize the importance of having reliable first-hand information. We should raise more awareness on this issue and hold more activities to expose these crimes." Australian Hills Shire councillor Jane Gretsiva said, "After seeing state organs on June 11th, everyone should watch it, support people who suffered, spread the facts, and increase awareness." Japanese movie director Sho Nobushi, who watched state organs on June 28th in Omiya City, Japan, praised the film. He said, "The very convincing part of it is that those who participated in the surgeries, the doctors and former soldiers, spoke up as witnesses. To be able to make these people come forward and speak is, in my view, the biggest achievement of this work." He added, "Dawn will definitely arrive. What happens in China now is worse than what the Nazis did. This absurd reality cannot last forever. I hope we don't lose hope. However, the world must think about how to end it. This movie itself is a very precious work. While watching it today, I kept thinking whether there is something I could do."
Thank you for listening to the Minghui Radio Podcast. For more information, including news about the persecution of Falun Gong practitioners in China and experience sharing stories by practitioners around the world, please visit our website at en.minghui.org.